So we have the late afternoon sun off to the left that's giving us shadow from this angle. But we need to be sitting here because he's also on the eastern side of a tree to give him shade. Must be quite cool in these fresh grasses. Probably a lot cooler than it is up the tree. Sometimes they do lie in the tree in a breeze, but perhaps now in the shade with the moisture around it's probably a lot cooler down on the ground. There isn't very much of a breeze. There's a little bit of air movement, and every now and then it picks up to a little whiff, or rather a little whoosh of a, not even a breeze, less than a breeze, and then dies down. You can hear the cicadas, an indicator that it's a lovely hot humid afternoon. They're very active. Cicadas. And he's getting the nods. Looks like he might have a nap. Question from Palm City, and I'm not sure where Palm City is. Might be presumptuous in saying something like Nevada or Florida. Yeah, well, that would be my next guess, I guess. Where else are with palm trees? Kunyuma and quarantine male, how would they react towards each other at this age? Now, that's a good question. When I think back to Mission in Duna, in fact, there was, right here where we are, there were two marulas where they had a kill, and one was in one tree and the other was in another tree, and they were snarling at each other. But that was over a kill, as cats do when they're on food. There were other times when they were fine together. So I think that they would probably bear each other's company. They might even interact briefly. There's no real telling. This is an open door of possibilities of what could transpire should these boys meet. It depends. I didn't want to use it depends, but it sneaked out. That word just sneaked out. But it would. There would be influencing factors that would change things considerably. If it was over a kill where one boy had made a kill and the other hadn't, there would be aggression. If they were both fairly hungry and there wasn't, let's put it this way, if there wasn't food on the table, probably wouldn't really matter. They would probably be quite amicable. The wonderful thing about a question like that is that we can only wait and see if we're going to actually witness the two boys meeting up again. Now, there has been a little bit of a breeze blowing. We're on Weaver's Nest. This breeze that has been blowing sort of heads up Weaver's Nest towards Philemon's Dip, towards the direction that his brother actually was this morning. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that he does pick up a whiff of not so fresh impala and starts to come and investigate. The likelihood of him doing it is not really great because he knows that the hyena are going to do pretty much the same thing. But it's possible. The beauty about a question like that is also if we wait and we see it, we would be able to see any number of different combinations of behavior under different circumstances, because it's inevitable. The fact that they are still within mom's territory and they're still hanging around, it's inevitable that their paths are going to cross and they are going to be in the same place at some point. They were last week, in fact, when just after Karula had that devastating loss of her cub, they had that impala and the impala lamb, the two kills in the tree and off that big jackalberry. And as far as I'm aware, both boys were there at some point. They must have interacted. Sadly, I didn't get to witness that. Yeah, nice breeze picking up now. That is now a very relaxed leopard catching flies. And a wonderful transformation. He's looking at us and he's not even lifting his lips and not even giving us a hiss. He's chosen now a slightly greater personal distance. Maybe that's what it is that we were in a little bit tight where we first arrived here, and we might have been just encroaching on his personal space. Well, there's no might about it. I think we were, but that was the only place we could see him, and he had the choice to allow us there or not, and he did. But he just kept letting us know that he wasn't comfortable with it. But now he's moved a little bit further away into a slightly different area, closer to the tree where his kill is, and he's far more comfortable with this distance. So I'm comfortable with this distance. I don't want to push him. I don't want to. I've no need to get closer. In fact, right now I've got no need to move because there are a couple of blades of grass. There's a beautiful grass flower just up to the left of his head, which is the bottlebrush grass. Really stunning when there's a whole field of them in this late afternoon light. And then I think that's Digitaria to the right. Must be wrong. I'd actually love to see them together. I haven't seen them together at all since I've been here, so they've been pretty independent for, I guess, for a couple of months now. Very good point raised by Kim in Chicago. That's Chicago. Very interesting point. Kim is saying how different these two boys are in their acceptance or rather their behavior towards the vehicles, where he's always a little bit testy, he's always a little bit otherwise. Whereas his brother, Quarantine Male, is just so relaxed with the vehicles, even comes closer to the vehicles, and just reinforcing that the truth of each animal is an individual. They're not machines. You can't take the behavior of one individual and apply that to the entire species. Each animal is a character, each animal is a soul and a person trapped in a little animal's body, or big. But I think what it is also is that they just have different requirements. Look, he's fine now. He's quite happy now. In fact, this morning when he took a rush at the vehicle, he ended in a playful mood, so it was almost like, I was angry with you, but I didn't really mean to snap at you. I don't know if we were live when that happened, but at some point this morning, he rushed out at us, and then sort of bound it off to the side. I'm now even going to sleep. He's hot and probably not very comfortable. He's a little restless. But he's giving you a fairly good show of his spot patterns. Anywhere you want to choose, whether it's that big square spot next to his ear or any spot that you look at will be unique to him. And you can't always depend on the eye pattern or the facial markings, because much like now was the only opportunity we had of seeing him. We would only be able to identify him by something that we can see. Well, from this lovely summer scene, we're going to take you to something else entirely different. And so, with no further ado,